Hello, boys and girls. Happy Wednesday. We call this hump day because we made it halfway through the week. So hopefully you guys are enjoying your passion projects and getting busy doing some reading with Mrs. Hood and regular math, place value with Mrs. Young, and doing your work with Mrs. Dunn on word study. She's reviewing everything that we've done so far this year. I cannot believe we have 8 days left of school in first grade. It is crazy, crazy town. Our joke for today is about letters. Which bet has never been won? What's a bet that's never been won? The alphabet. Kaylee is our superstar today. So thanks, Kaylee, for giving us a morning greeting. Today's Google form, I want you to give me a fact about yourself so that we can use that for a game during our Zoom meeting. Yesterday, we played a game of Simon Says. Today, during our Zoom meeting, we're going to play a guessing game with those clues. So that's going to be fun. Today, we're reading another chapter of Gooniebird Green. And we had just gotten to the part where we found out that she did live in a city called China. So she's beginning to tell the story again. After the moving van left China, the Green family loaded up their station wagon with 5 big suitcases. Then they added a lawnmower that they had forgotten to put in the moving van, a cooler full of ham sandwiches and iced tea, a bundled up stack of National Geographics, and an orange and white cat named Catman, who had no tail because he had flicked his former tail once under the lawnmower. The last thing they put into the station wagon was a rolled up rug from the front porch of their house. It was too long to fit. They tried it sideways and folded and upside down, but it still wouldn't fit. Let's leave it behind, Mr. Green suggested. But Mrs. Green began to cry. It was my mother's, she said. There's a stain on it where my mother spilled some black bean soup 40 years ago. I feel sentimental about this rug. So Mr. Green agreed to take the rug because it had made him cry too if his wife cried. He decided to put the back window of the station wagon down so that the end of the rolled up rug could stick out. He made certain that everything was nicely arranged and that Catman had a comfortable place to sleep in the back seat, just beneath the end of the rug and next to the place where Gooniebird would sit. So I want you guys all to visualize what that is like. A station wagon is a type of car. It is a low car. It's a long car. So the rug is going to stick out the back window. And Gooniebird is going to sit right next to the rug. Mr. Green and Mrs. Green and Gooniebird all got into the car and drove away from China, starting their long journey to Water Tower. They drove for many, many hours. They ate all of the ham sandwiches and drank all of the iced tea. They stopped to get gas. They went to the bathroom. They played the car radio and listened to news and operas and football games and talk news and talk shows about love relationships. Suddenly, Gooniebird glanced down and noticed with dismay that her beloved Catman had disappeared. She looked around the floor of the back seat, but Catman was not there. She heard a small sound, like a purr, coming from inside the rolled-up rug. She knew that Catman had entered the rug. She knew that Catman had entered the rug. He probably found it a warm and dark and cozy place. But Gooniebird was worried about Catman. She decided to try to get him out. She reached into the rolled-up center of the rug, but he slithered away beyond her arms. She looked at the backs of her parents' heads, wondering if she could tell them about the problem with Catman. But her mother was dozing, falling asleep, and her father was driving, watching the road carefully and listening on the radio program about whales. So Gooniebird decided to wiggle into the rug herself to rescue Catman. "Oh, no," cried Kiko. "I'm going to faint." "Shh," said the other children. It was dark and dusty and a very tight squeeze inside the rolled-up rug, but Gooniebird wiggled inch by inch toward Catman. Catman slithered away inch by inch. She could see his glittering eyes as he backed away from her hands. Gooniebird was determined to rescue him. She continued forward. Suddenly, an amazing thing happened. Even though Gooniebird was not very large and did not weigh very much, and was not wearing her heavy diamond earrings from the palace that day, her weight inside the rolled-up rug caused it to tilt. At that moment, Mr. Green leaned forward to change the radio station, and the car went over a pothole in the road. The rolled up rug containing both Catman and Gooniebird slid out of the back of the station wagon and flew through the air before it landed on the side of the road in some thick grass beside a fence post. A cow chewing a purple flower looked curiously at it and then wandered away. The station wagon drove on around a curve in the road. Slowly the rug unrolled. Catman's fur was standing on end as if he had a tail. If he had a tail, his tail would have been sticking straight up in the air. For a moment, Catman stood still, looking at Gooniebird. Then he ran away, fast. Gooniebird sat up. She was not entirely sure what had happened, but she was not hurt. She simply wondered where her family was, and her cat, and the car. Other cars stopped and people got out. Many people offered her a drink of water from their bottles of Evian, but Gooniebird wasn't thirsty. After a while, a police car with a flashing light came. A TV reporter came, and a cameraman. While the policeman talked on the radio, the TV reporter, a woman with very large hair, interviewed Gooniebird and called her the little girl who had a flying carpet ride. In the interview, Gooniebird described Catman and asked people to call the station if they found him, but she never got Catman back. Eventually, the police car took her to the parents, who were both crying at a gas station 4 miles down the road. When Gooniebird and her parents were finally reunited, everyone, including 2 policemen, a TV reporter, and the gas station owner, hugged and kissed and did the tango. The end. Whoa. That is so crazy. What a lovely story, Mrs. Pigeon said, and an exciting one too, but a little sad to lose your kitty that way. Catman is not a kitty, Gooniebird said. He is a cat, and I didn't say that I lost him. I just said that I never got him back. So no one found him and called the TV station? Actually, they did, Gooniebird replied. But where is Catman now? Said Mrs. Pigeon. He was consumed by a cow, Gooniebird said, but that's a different story. By a cow? You're joking, Mrs. Pigeon said. Nope, said Gooniebird, but I'm not joking. I only tell absolutely true stories. Tell it, they shouted. Tell it, the children called. I will, Gooniebird said. Another day. So Gooniebird really did fly on a carpet. It was just from the back of her station wagon to the ground, but she did. She does tell such interesting real life stories. Wow, there were no illustrations there. You had to kind of visualize everything and make a picture in your head. There's that word visualize again. Remember, visual means your vision. That's your eyes. You made a visual aid for your passion project, and you visualize when you create a picture in your mind when you're reading a story and there's no illustration. All right, boys and girls, awesome job today. Keep it up. 8 days to go.